From where Michael lays, he can see Adam's face. Michael is watching another unfolding. Adam's acceptance and resignation is now bringing the disquiet and doubt within Adam's mind to an outright halt. This disquiet and doubt had utterly inundated the moments of the fray until now. Adam's thoughts begin to swirl. It swirls over his entire life and all that had occurred within it. Adam looks up at his executioner. The withdrawal of disquiet and terror from his mind allows Adam to break free from his current mental posturing. His mind and his posture seem to be strengthened by an acceptance of this occurrence. This new posture causes the subtle tremors of doubt to dissipate as the mind now begins to be enthralled with a new focus. A steady focus. This steady focus calms Adam, for this experience is an aberration compared to what he has tangibly encountered in life. It draws Adam's engrossment, for he has never been here before. This is his first encounter with death, and he wishes to fully understand each of the entailing circumstances to better assimilate himself to the occurring theme, thereby making his mind able to fully grasp onto what his life is actually turning out to be. Michael sees that Adam is at an incredible sense of ease in this very moment. The occupation of Adam's mind is complete. In his life and career, this is how he is most comfortable, being assiduously engaged. Michael sees that Adam feels no burden in the many thoughts of life, whether it be the past, present, or future. Michael sees that it is a calm that Adam has never known. Michael looks at Adam. He sees that Adam's understanding of life's existence and unfolding has come to peace. The panic has run away from Adam's face. It is malleable adaptability that has come to him. The trembling visage is now transfigured. It is now a much more quieted and composed version of its previous self. This transformation is enforced by his steady, repetitive breaths. Michael deduces that Adam now has similar feelings of completion that Michael himself has continuously treasured and experienced for quite a few many days. Michael knows that Adam now heads towards a step that all will get to know one day. Michael turns to lay flat on his back, facing the ceiling as the anguish, too, runs away from his face. Now, it all seems so clear. Then, in an instant, a deluge of smoke bombs hailed through the windows. Stifling gas from the smoke bombs spread through the room in a hurry. Asphyxiated airways of intruders and victims alike all choke as they struggle to grasp for air. Through the hail of smoke, it is clear that the intruder's time of oppression is at an end. An agency of armed individuals begins to file into the space, searching out and securing the first immediately. They then overpower and subdue the intruders. The second, who is realizing that all is lost, makes a swift escape as the will and presence of the intruders wane. The armed individuals conscientiously scan the area and make safe and secure this place. All hold still. Michael and Adam are then tended to and watched over by anxious friends as the chaos declines gradually to a gracious banter. Many have fallen. The witnesses are starting to realize this outcome through seeing it in plain sight. Terror and disbelief smeared upon the faces of every person in the room. None can believe that they had failed to see that there was a murderer within their midst. This moment security is lingering in great uncertainty, for trust is now absent. All try to grasp onto something. Anything really. For stability. Many, who lay on the ground, still need care and assistance. Some commiserate with those who need to be consoled, holding them close so as to offer some relief from their grief. A grief suffered from realizing that a life is indeed lost, a life that was close to them. Some curatively tend to those that need aid. They band battered body parts and wrap open wounds with available articles of clothing. For some, this disbelief gives birth to an anger, and in their anger, they instantaneously desire revenge. They want to be heard within this disturbed and disoriented crowd. They find their message urgent because they realize that a real threat is here. Now, they attempt to wittingly formulate a plan of attack. They do so by acknowledging and recognizing their resources and its capabilities that can be pertinently integrated into the attack plan. Some try to keep a cool and calm composure, in the hopes to find a firm footing in this world for themselves. It is a composure that exudes a supple oratory. Those that desire revenge see this calm civility as blatant ignorance and are then aggravated, and thus grow even more anxious in their need to act and avenge. They assert their rightful justification regarding a vengeful pursuit of this foe, and that this foe's death would mean the peace and security for all. And in this justification, their voices grow more and more exasperated in the face of a lingering calm civility. They seek to find an immediate and forceful rectification with which to combat this assault. And even more so than that, they fear what this threat may become if it is not dealt with or destroyed. And above all else, they fear for their own safety. Those that are calm and civil try to assuage this anger. But the anger will not relent. In Michael's mind, the logical opinions from both sides reverberate and ascend to relevancy. He, however, decides not to interject his opinion, electing to watch and listen. For this debate of heightened exasperation will not draw a compromising agreement in this hour or any hour near it. Weary eyes are sullen at the disagreement of people. The forces that came filing in and secured the area moments ago are now disarmed. They address one another with familiarity and candor. It is also seen now that those very individuals are actually the private security of the first. In the immediate aftermath of this event, a hint of guilt comes over Adam. He cannot help but think that he had somehow played a role in this travesty coming to fruition. In fact, he knows for certain that it was his controlled accomplishments within his arena of employment that had led directly to this event occurring. The second had made that point of aggravation very clear. Adam looks around at the survivors and lost ones. He feels burdened by this guilt which he carries onerously, and he is somehow envious of the fallen, for they are not burdened with guilt and regret the way he is. Adam would not mind switching places with them. In the days that follow, the media feasts upon this incident. The second's attempts had been foiled. His hands are stained with blood. Cursed is he in the minds of the survivors. Ever is he to be condemned and damned by many tongues. He flees prosecution and is presently nowhere to be found. A manhunt is initiated by authorities. Also, the second's affairs are made public. At the time of his plan's fruition, he was going through difficult and bleak financial straits. Although his business ventures had been reaping decent returns, his prodigal ways have racked up exorbitant costs and expenses. Much is now made public. Candlelight vigils are held at that building in the days and nights that follow. It is done so to remember those that were slain. As some survivors in attendance hold their candles, the waves of heat emanating from the flames of those candles then radiate upon their skin. This triggers and awakens scores of senses. This awakening brings them back to a time where they felt smoke rising upon that very same skin. The rising smoke which they felt upon their skins was a commencement. It signaled the sweet release from a kneeling captivity upon floors that were stained with blood. It was a similar sensation that the radiating heat now offers. This offer is now accepted willingly. The survivors all share an unspoken bond for having escaped that episode with their lives. An episode which could have meant certain death. Solemn tears and embraces are shared this day. Mutual admiration is exemplified at every turn. For Michael, he holds and embraces many of those who have lost someone significant. He tries to comfort them. He stares at these candles. It is almost as if the hopes and dreams of those who mourn are set aflame. For the orange glow now flickers upon all the people's faces and bodies. Michael looks all around. All he finds is a hue that is of a great fire and flame. To Michael, he sees it. Everything burns. Michael hopes the emanating warmth rekindles the essences of all who are here. Their grieving hearts are so very heavy with dismay. Where do they go from here? Michael senses much uncertainty for the future. He knows that this remains as an event in the course of forever. He will, for the rest of his days, behold the unfolding. For his part, he knows he will be the end of this cycle of pain. Michael does not want to be anyone's adversary. Michael ponders this accursed and infernal case of the second. It is so clear to see that the second had condemnably attempted to bring about the end of others. Wrecking their livelihoods was to be the immediate consequence, no matter what he had asserted his intentions to be. Based on the proclamations he so boldly claimed that murderous day, it can be deduced that he did so to satisfy an indignation that grew deep within himself. What grew from within appeared to be an obsession. This obsession was geared solely towards intensifying the morally detestable and hateful nature of his outwardly undisclosed fascination. From the looks of it, there was something in the second's existence that had brought about this strife. He seemingly could not resolve it to bring about a peace of mind. One could venture a guess that his troubles were beyond him. And so he incorrigibly chose the only option available in his panic-stricken mind, and that was to lash out against an unsuspecting and defenseless crowd. He did this so as to encounter as little resistance as possible. Somehow, their pain and agony brought about a sense of accomplishment and a notion of success to his mind. This time, thankfully, a scheme was foiled. Michael can perceive the acts of the second and its meanings which the second might have regarded them as. For Michael had once trodden down a similar path that the second is currently marching down.